Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to Upsilon Charter's first Candlelight Vigil for cancer awareness on campus. To begin, I first want to speak about one of the many reasons cancer awareness is our philanthropy. Cancer impacts almost everyone. Many of us have all been affected by cancer in some way. This disease does not discriminate. It is and has been incredibly important to our sorority to support cancer-related organizations in any way we can since our founding in 1998. Each year, we hold a C.A.R.E week, Cancer Awareness, a Real Effort. We take this week to participate in service events related to cancer awareness and also raise money for the cancer organization that we are working with that year. These past few years, we have been so pleased to be working with Bringing Hope Home. Bringing Hope Home is a nonprofit organization that helps families battling cancer with emotional and financial support. So I actually wanted to show a video of what Bringing Hope Home does and kind of their story of starting. So I'm just going to share my screen.
It was an October day in 1983, and I was walking and I ran into a girl that lived on my floor. And I was like, "Hey, Janet." She's like, "Oh, hi, Paul." I said, "Who are you talking to?" She goes, "Go away." And I tried to get her to introduce me to Nicole for a good 5 minutes. And eventually Janet goes, "Okay, Paul, this is Nicole." And Nicole was completely underwhelmed. And I was just completely taken by her. It took me 4 years to get a date with her. We got married June of '91. And Christopher was born March 25th, 1995. And we were just having a great time. When she got pregnant with Gabby, Gabby was born January 29th, 97. So through the end of 96 and into the beginning of 97, Nicole wasn't feeling good. She was tired all the time. She had this cough. She had itchy skin. Christopher was probably about 20 months old. She got up early with him. It was like 5 in the morning. And she couldn't catch her breath, so she came back to bed. She's like, "I can't breathe, something's wrong." I said, "Well, how about we go to the hospital?" She goes, "No, I'm gonna go and you stay home with Christopher." She called me at about 9:30 in the morning, and she said, "They found something." When people say worlds get turned upside down, that was that moment for us. She was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's disease. Right then was a moment of sheer and utter chaos.
When we found out that she was really battling, I got a few friends of mine who also knew Paul in college, and we chipped in. We got a gift certificate to the Four Seasons, and just to kind of give them a getaway.
I get a little like 5x5 gift box in the mail one day, and so I open it up, and it's for Nicole. And so Nicole's like, "Oh my God, this is so nice." And Timmy and several other guys that we had known had heard that Nicole was sick and sent us this Four Seasons weekend stay gift package. So we went and we had a really nice couple days. We had like a spa treatment, and Nicole really loved that. And I've been kind of complaining to Nicole that because the kids are little and we're spending time obviously getting her taken care of and I'm working, I don't see anybody.
And he'd always come home telling Nicole, "Hey, I bumped into Tim Sherry. What a great guy. I bumped into this person. What a great guy."
And she got tired of me complaining and said, "Well, why don't you just do an event and invite whoever you want and raise money for something?"
And she had the concept of, you need to put together an event, invite all your friends, and, call it the Great Guy Dinner.
So I was like, okay. So we started the first Great Guy Dinner.
When you're going through this cancer battle, with insurance, you're paying tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket.
We started realizing that a lot of people don't have anybody. I mean, nobody. They're single parents. They're losing their job because they have to go to treatment. And we decided that we were going to pay bills for these families, and we were going to take care of them. We may not be able to impact the cancer, but we can impact them having a better feeling and knowing that they're not alone.
So we put together our first event. We had like 100 guys, mostly guys, and we raised like $13,000. And then from that point on, it just kept doubling and doubling and doubling.
We decided to be our own charity. And the Great Guys Group was born. In year one, 2008, we helped 10 families. And then in year two, we helped 69 families. And then we jumped to about 350-ish. This is what Bringing Hope Home does. We've been where you are.
In terms of touching families, and you see how this affects them and their lives, and it makes it all worth it.
We know exactly what you need, and we're gonna help you, and you're not alone.
And so the goal is to make this really big in Philly and take this around the country.
And the first step in doing that is to evolve our organization to Bringing Hope Home. It is what we do, it is who we are, and hope is what we bring to families from the area battling cancer. We are very excited to have the Great Guys Group become Bringing Hope Home. And you can find us at our new home, www.bringinghopehome.org.
So I'm going to put their website in the chat box in case anyone wants to learn more about their organization. But also just this video was posted a while back, so some updated statistics about what Bringing Hope Home has done since 2008. They have helped thousands of families and raised millions of dollars for these families. So again, if you want to get to know their organization better, then it's in the chat box. So next I wanted to take 6 minutes just to have a moment of silence, each minute representing 100,000 of the lives that are lost every single year from cancer. So for about the next 6 minutes, if everyone can just take a moment of silence for those who have lost their battle to cancer. Okay. Thank you. So now we can take some time to have our speakers speak. So first that will be Professor Kristen Kimball.
Okay, and I would like to share my screen. So right now, Sonali, it's said host disabled participant screen sharing. So
Sonali, I think you have to let other people share their screen.
I'm feeling much better about this whole thing now as we go through.
Figure it out, kid. Okay, got it. Okay, maybe it should work now.
There we go. Now I'll have trouble making my screen advance. You wait and see. There we go. All right. Forgive me for reading. Time to practice was part of the problem, but also this can be a little hard to talk about still. So I did want my script here for me, and you'll get glare from the glasses, so pardon that as well. But anyway, I think you know my name is Kristen Kimball. I'm among the teaching faculty in the Physiology and Neurobiology department at UConn. Thank you, Sonali, and thank you to your sorority for giving me the chance to talk about my family's experience with lung cancer during this C.A.R.E week. I'll also thank the Longevity and GoTo Foundations who provided graphics that I'll be using. And on this last day of Lung Cancer Awareness Month, I have 3 messages for you. Here first, you see a beautiful pencil drawing of my husband, which was given to me last September by the father of my dear friend and colleague, whom some of you know, Dr. John Redden. John's dad used a Facebook photo to produce this startling likeness of my husband, Dave, as he looked around May of 2019. A few months later, in August, Dave passed away at Mass General Hospital, surrounded by his family. We spent the last 10 days of his life in hospice, sitting vigil with him there, day and night. In the face of COVID-19, I now understand what a gift that was, and I'm profoundly grateful. In May of 2012, Dave was a healthy, fit, never smoker who at age 59 was rowing 8 miles every morning on the Connecticut River. He basically had no warning. The only reason he went to the doctor to look into his bronchitis, which never quite developed nor resolved, was our scheduled trip to Europe the next week, which incidentally was the only reason our doctor did an X-ray in addition to prescribing the Z-Pak. Instead of flying to Paris on May 8th, 2012, Dave underwent a lung biopsy. And with utter shock, we learned he had stage 4 adenocarcinoma. It was in his spine, in some lymph nodes, and all over his lungs, innumerable nodules. So my first message to you is that anyone can get lung cancer. Most people now diagnosed are non-smokers, and 15 to 20% of them are, like my husband, never smokers. Among them, young women and men in their 30s, even in their 20s. We were fortunate that the initial oncologist knew he needed to send Dave's tissue for genetic analysis. Not all do. After a nail-biting 14 days, we learned Dave's cancer was due to a genetic mutation that was targetable, meaning that there was an FDA drug available to treat the cancer. It's often known as molecular therapy or targeted therapy. Thus, the first of Dave's 12 different treatment regimens, which later included clinical trials as well, was a simple pill. Throughout all but the last 2 months of his over 7-year survival, no one could tell he had cancer. He used that time to live well and to advocate through his published writing and his willingness to speak out. Thus my choice of the photo here, showing him at his interview for Boston's WBUR radio station, their local NPR station, in which he told his story and spoke of the research that was responsible for his being here. However, under 20% of people diagnosed with lung cancer live 5 years. Currently, screening is only available for people with a smoking history. So my second message to you is this: if you love someone or just know someone with a smoking history, here are the criteria for low-dose CT scan screening. Data are coming in. Lung cancer is caught early due to this screening at a much more treatable stage, even a curable stage. This is wonderful. However, for people like Dave and like more and more younger adults diagnosed with lung cancer, there is no screening, not yet. Dave's story was typical. Started targeted therapy, evolution happens, natural selection favors cells that learn how to resist and evade the drug. There's progression, including to the brain in Dave's case. The next treatment ensues. Among Dave's treatment were 3 clinical trials, one of which was a game changer. The top photo shows Dave and his Mass General Hospital oncologist, Dr. Alicia Sequist, who is now a dear friend. On day 1 of that clinical trial, Dave helped contribute to the data that drove a change in practice. The drug he helped test is now the first-line treatment for his variety of lung cancer. This drug, approved in 2015 and now known as Tagrisso, halted lung progression for 2 years for my husband and kept his brain clear of cancer until the last couple months of his life. Dave had so many beloved caregivers, way too many to list. But I had to include Nisha and Colleen, 2 UConn nursing grads who took my A&P course. My students who ended up my husband's infusion nurses. Circle complete. Thanks to this cutting edge treatment made possible by research, we had over 7 years. We traveled, we spent time with family and friends and did our best to advocate for lung cancer. Dave met 2 new grandchildren and maximized his time with all 3 of them. Paraphrasing his words, we cherished every minute, not wanting to miss a moment. However, lung cancer has a problem, and this is my third message to you. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death. It kills more women than breast cancer. Indeed, it kills more people than colorectal, breast, and prostate cancers, the next 3 most frequent, all together combined. Yet it ranks dead last in federal research dollars. 24% of cancer deaths, 6% of cancer funding. This needs to change. This includes the need to make the kind of universal screening available for those next 3 most common cancers also available for lung cancer, the most common cancer. So to finish, lung cancer can affect anyone. Finding it early vastly improves outcome, even allows cure. So please be aware of screening for those who qualify. And finally, more research, more funding is vital. Because, circle complete, anyone can get lung cancer. You only need lungs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kimball. Your speech was very moving and definitely super informative. Now our next speaker will be Anjum. So Anjum, if you wanna.
Hi, everyone. So on December 9th, 2017, I lost my maternal grandmother, who I call Nana, to a long battle with bone marrow cancer or multiple myeloma, along with other health conditions. Let me tell you a bit about her. She's not only my grandmother, but a mother to 7 children who live all around the world in the US, Canada, and Bangladesh. She raised her children to put family first and always be the best version of themselves that they could possibly be. I didn't grow up with her as a figure in the majority of my childhood, seeing as she spent most of her life in her home village in Bangladesh, but I did have the privilege of spending her last few days with her. When I was 15 years old, my Nanu's health began to deteriorate significantly. She's always battled with health conditions, but it was never this bad before. Her health conditions became far too complicated for the healthcare providers overseas to help her effectively, and it was time she returned to the US for treatment. My Nanu had made the decision to stay with me and my family in her last days to receive adequate health care in Connecticut, seeing as it was her best option. This meant my mom giving up her time from work to help her mom recover and remain as healthy as she could be. This meant my dad also had to take days off of work to drive his mother-in-law to and from doctor's appointments. This meant I had given up on extracurricular activities because I didn't have the transportation means to go when my parents were always at the doctor's office or the hospital. For the last couple years of her life, my family and I lived in the hospital or the oncologist's office, but this isn't about me or my family, this is about my Nanu. It became routine for her to ride in an ambulance once a week because she took a fall or because she was vomiting. She would get her steroid injections on Friday, feel bubbly as can be that weekend, and as soon as Monday hit, all those feelings of happiness turned into depressive episodes. Seeing my Nanu only feel worse from her chemotherapy treatments made me wonder, how much longer can this go on? The pain she feels and the lack of understanding everyone around her has, no matter how much we try to convince her otherwise. She couldn't even accurately describe her feelings to her doctor due to the massive language barrier. My mom and I would routinely attend Nanu's chemo treatments with her and provide her with the support system she needed. And each and every time we went, there was one less patient than last week, but we consider that to be normal. But why should it be normal? The closer we got to the end of my Nanu's well and long-lived life, the more we were told to start preparing for the worst case scenario that we were assured in the beginning wouldn't be a concern. We were told that if she had any last dying wishes, to accommodate for those as soon as we could. My Nanu's last dying wish was to go back to Bangladesh since that's where she wanted to be laid to rest. So we did. My mom and her sister booked the soonest flight they could to Bangladesh. Everything happened so quickly, and before I knew it, I was bidding goodbye to her forever. It didn't hit me until she passed security and my cousins and I stood there in silence watching her leave us forever. A few short months later, I was sitting on my phone in my bedroom around 1 a.m. when I got a message from my cousin in Bangladesh in our family group chat. My Nanu had passed away a little while ago. I found out from a Facebook message that my Nanu was officially no longer with us. We all knew it was coming, but it didn't feel real until it was too late. It felt like a piece of me had quite literally broken off and is now no longer to be found. Cancer should not be something we look at as sealed fate. My Nanu may have lost her battle, but she will not be the norm. As someone whose family has not only one, but many members affected by cancer, I want all of you to know that you are truly not alone. This may seem like a dark part of your life with no light at the end of the tunnel, but this too shall pass. It's important we remember not to mourn the loss of our loved ones, but to embrace the legacy and impact they've left behind. It's important we remember that although we may have lost an integral person in our day-to-day lives, that they are still the glue that holds us together. Cancer may be our enemy, but it will not overcome us.
Thank you, Anjum. Our next speaker will be Manjari.
Hi, everyone. My name is Manjari. I'm gonna make my screen full. Oh, just kidding. Too dark for that. Okay. First of all, I wanted to thank Professor Kimball and Anjum for being so vulnerable in a public space. I mean, I know it feels like it's not a public space, but talking about something that affects you this close to your heart to people that may not understand where it's coming from, that's a different type of courage that takes. So I just wanted to, first of all, thank both of you. I wanted to talk today about how my life has been affected by cancer. Growing up, mind you, I don't have a lot of family here. It's just my parents and my brother. All of our family's back in India, like Anjum was saying. A lot of my family is overseas. So the family that I have here is our family friends, we call them. not blood related, but they are the people that I grew up with, the people I was raised with, my friends, my family. And in 2011, March of 2011, one of our family friends, one of my closest friends, was diagnosed with sarcoma, which is a soft tissue cancer. And it was non-treatable. And the doctors immediately told everybody that he had a year, if not less, to live. Um, I don't like referring to him as him. His name is Seishu, and he was 17 when he was diagnosed. He was a senior in high school when he found out that he had a year to live. And when he found that out, obviously all of us found that out at the same time because that's our family. And the way that it broke, I want to say like our group of like 25, 30 people was insane. And the initial feeling was always confusion. It was always, wait, like where did this come from? Like you were healthy yesterday and now you're telling me that you're not going to live to see your 18th birthday. Like like it hits you like a wall. It's like you can't even like soak it in. It takes so long to soak it in. Um, and of course, he passed away a year later. He passed away in March of 2012. Didn't make it to his high school graduation. But I think the time that Seishu spent, the year that he spent diagnosed, um, I love talking about Seishu's story because I love talking about how he impacted the people that are still here. Um, and I know Anjum said that losing your nanu was like took a piece of your heart away. Um, and Professor Kimball, when you were talking about how it all came full circle, your two students happened to be the nurses to your husband. Um, I think when I look at Seishu's parents now, or I look at our friends at home, I see a part of him. And even though he's gone, it's like he's still here, and the effect that he left on all of us is still here. Every year, we all still do the cancer walk. We have a foundation in his name. It's called Seishu Strong. Established it in 2012, and it's still going. I'm at school now, but my parents go to the Jimmy Fun Walk every year, raise our awareness, raise our money. And I think as terrible as cancer is, and as awful as it is to the people it affects and the families that it affects, I think it keeps a part of the person here. Every time that I don't feel like Sishu is gone. Every time I look at his parents, or every time I look at old pictures, I feel like he's still here. Every time we go to the house, I feel like he's still here. And I think that's where I choose to focus my energy on. Um, because you could spend the rest of your life being upset and angry at cancer and at diseases and at how people aren't researching enough and people aren't fundraising enough money and people aren't talking enough about it, um, which in itself is so important. As we all know, I mean, we host an entire week dedicated to just this purpose and fundraising and everything. But I think it's important to choose to focus your energy towards the good that comes out of it, which is so minuscule, but it's still, I think you just have to choose to be happy and choose to be positive in times of turmoil like this. Um, and even though Sishu's gone, he made all of us closer. In his name, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. In his name, we've started a community, a group of people who have a place to go and a place to talk and a place to feel at home. And it's because of these people. It's because of your husband, Professor Kimball, and it's because of your Nanu Anjum, it's because of Seishu that we can sit here and talk about these people that we love that impacted us so much in such a good light. And I think that's an important takeaway from all of this is that as miserable and as awful as it is and as sad as it makes us, and it's it's important to also focus on the good that's coming out of situations like this and out of times like these that make you cherish more what you have. And I know it's easier said than done because of course I wasn't, directly related to this issue and all of that, but I think it's important to realize that there's a lot of bad, but there's a little bit of good, and it's that good that's gonna keep you going. But that's just my little spiel on positivity, I guess. But thank you for listening, everyone. If you would like to search up Sishu's foundation, it's called Sishu Strong. It's on Google somewhere, I'm sure. But thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna pause the recording just so that I can, or actually, Marjorie, can you look up his foundation and then put it in the chat?
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, thank you all of you for speaking about that, about your experiences, and you know how obviously like we don't have anyone here, or I don't think we have anyone here who has had cancer themselves, but cancer really affects everybody, and the families who do have to go through that, oftentimes it costs a lot of money, and it's very difficult to pay those bills for many families. So yeah, I mean, it's very like good that we're working with Bringing Hope Home, because not everyone has the privilege to pay for those hospital bills, to pay for the treatments. So yeah, definitely very thankful to be working with Bringing Hope Home these past couple of years, and thank you everyone for sharing your stories. I do want to give an opportunity to anyone else who's here to speak, if you do want to. It's okay if you don't, but if you do want to, I will give like a minute just in case. Okay, I'm gonna assume no. But now I kind of wanted to do the lightings of the candles. Obviously, I know it's pretty hard for people to get like actual candles when they're at home. So instead, we can also use our phone flashlights and turn those on. So if everyone could turn on their flashlight or light a candle and hold it to the screen to celebrate cancer awareness and the lives that have been taken away from cancer. Okay, I think we can turn them off, or just like let them down. But anyways, I think that concludes the Candlelight Vigil. I want to thank everyone for coming and making this so successful, because it is our first C.A.R.E week and it's our first Candlelight Vigil, and the circumstances are very like strange this year because we have to do everything online. But yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone again who did share their stories. And I want to thank Dr. Kimball again for coming to our event, because it's definitely very nice of you to do and take time out of your day to kind of share your story.
It was
So
my pleasure. Thank you for listening. This will get reported to my 14 followers on Twitter. And actually in Facebook, there's a lot of lung cancer people, both the professional ones, the physicians and caregivers, and the patients, and the people like me, the former and current caregivers of their spouses or loved ones. So thank you. Any time we get to reach anybody, we appreciate it. So, and I appreciate all your stories so much. Thank you.
yeah, so with that, I think that concludes everything. In the chat bar, there's many links. These will all be included in our link trees on our social media, as well as the Instagram description or the YouTube descriptions when this is posted on YouTube. Again, I'm not sure how to preserve the links, but that was the best that I could come up with to make the links more accessible. Linktree. The link tree will be in our Instagram bio, and we'll also link it on Facebook and everything. So yeah, with that, I think that ends the Candlelight Vigil. And I wanted to thank everyone for attending again.
Professor Kimball, I just wanted to say, I opened the article and the first sentence is, "Damn it, why do you do this?" My wife, Chris, crumbles.
Well, what I said wasn't actually damn it. It was something far worse, but he had to.
I just wanted to let you know I already love where it's going.
Yeah, he was a good writer, and he actually, I don't know if any of you know Regina Barreca on campus. Look her up. Yeah. So, she's like sort of famous, right? And when we first moved to Stores in 2016 and David retired because of his illness, he wanted to take some courses, the old guy taking the course. And so I said, oh, genetics, you should take genetics or something like that to learn about cancer. And my eldest daughter said, you should take a writing course, a creative writing course. And so he looks up a creative writing course, and it's hers, and he tries to sign up for it. And she said she already had an old guy in that course, but she give him an independent study. And so my husband gets an independent study with Regina Barreca, and I'm going, do you know who she is? And they became friends, and she really helped hone his writing. So in the article you're reading, there are links to his other things, or just Google Dave Kimball WBUR, and you'll get directed to most of them.
Perfect. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Just add something. That's actually really funny you say that, Professor, because I actually do have a class with her tomorrow night, in fact. Yes.
Well, Howard,
I
bring him
will
up.
definitely be mentioning this vigil then, and
Bring it up to her. And she was, when Dave died, and people started asking, this is after a 10-day hospice vigil, people, well, where's the obituary? And it's like, it's not ready yet. It took us a while to write the obituary, and she actually gave me the prompt to do it. I told her a story about how right one of his last coherent days, my nephew, my brother-in-law, and my daughter were playing cards, and his nurse came and adjusted his meds, and she's looking over his shoulder, and she just sort of says, "Our king's good," and everybody goes, "Oh," and of course he didn't have kings, but that was the line. She got him, and everybody laughed. And Regina said to me, "That's your prompt, Kristen. Write on that." And I'm there, but then I did it, and that didn't end up in his obituary, but that got me going. So she did that for me too. So amazing. Have a wonderful night, everybody. And please don't put my email in any social media.
Yeah, of course.
Needless. Yeah.
We promise.
Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Kimball.